Hello, everyone. We are going to go over chapter 3, and it shouldn't take that long. This is a short chapter, and we're going to prove it visually. You're going to see it in graph that trade makes both party better off. By that, we mean they're going to end up with more of products when they trade instead of they doing it themselves. All right. Anyway, we have two quizzes already done, and everybody on the board, we're doing great. Remember, the quizzes is just like your homework and is unlimited uh, attempt. And I see the highest attempt. Okay, when you make a low grade, try it again. Okay, until you ace it. Okay. All right, let's just go over this here interdependence and gains from the trade. Uh, assuming there is two parties making two goods, okay, or two countries they making two goods. All right, let's show potato and meat, and these two persons are Ruby and Frank. All right, and Ruby produces only meat, and Frank produces only potato, and they trade. They both going gain from the trade. All right. Let's look at the chart here. Let's say uh, Frank on panel B here, if he devote 8 hours a day just to do these two product, potato and meat, his production possibility frontier curve is going to be like this. If he just does 8 hours to do meat, he come up with 8 ounces of meat. If he just only do potato, no meat, he just come up with 32 ounces of potato. That is Frank's production possibility curve. We're assuming is linear. Okay, if he wants to do more potato, remember the opportunity cost, what he has to do. He has to give up to do more meat. Then he goes along the curve, coming down from point A, having more meat, having more potato and less meat. Okay, remember we talk about opportunity cost. That how economists calculate the cost of something is what they give up. All right, accounting cost is how much it costs you to go to college. Well, they said tuitions and books and the room and board is going to be $20,000. But economists look at it. Well, what did you give up? Also, you got to calculate that. Well, assuming you could work 1 year and make $20,000, then you add up to that cost of going to the college, and they said, well, that's how much it costs you to go to college. All right. Now here we're just looking what we give up to make the other goods. Let's look at Ruby's chart on panel C here. Okay. Let's say if Ruby do the same thing, just do meat in 8 hours, he can come up with 24 ounces of meat. And if he just does potatoes, no meat, he come up with 48 ounces of meat. Okay, that's Ruby's production possibility frontier curve. And let's say she devote half of her time to do potato, half of her time to do meat, and he land in point B with 12 ounces of meat and 24 ounces of potato. Okay. Let's say Frank doing it on point A, Ruby does it on point B, and until the wise guy comes and says, okay, guys, I'm going to tell you if one of you do one thing and the other do the other one, but I'm going to tell you which one you could be specialized in, have better advantage over the other guy. Okay, then you do that, then you both trade, then you work 8 hours a day, not more, same land, same material you're using, you're going to end up outside of production possibility curve. Okay. All right. Well, right at the bat, as you notice here, Ruby has absolute advantage over Frank in both of them. Okay, if he works 8 hours, if she works 8 hours, she come up with 24 ounces of meat. And Frank works for 8 hours, she end up with 8 ounces of meat. Then Ruby's is better to making, over Frank, in absolute advantage over Frank to making meat. How about potato? If Ruby just work 8 hours, just do potato, she end up with 48 ounces of potato. And on the other hand, Frank on panel B, 8 hours potato works, end up with 32 ounces of potato. Well, Ruby is still better than Frank. He got absolute advantage. She got absolute advantage over Frank in making potato too. Then why she should trade? Why should say, well, why do I need to trade with, Frank? I'm better than him. Okay. But what we're going to show here, she does not have competitive advantage over Frank on both of them. Okay. In one, she does. In the other one, Frank does. That's what the trade between individual, between countries can benefit both sides. US might have absolute advantage over, let's say, Mexico over producing everything, just like these two here. But if she does trade with Mexico, Mexico end up to have a competitive advantage on US, at least from something, let's say avocado, agricultural goods. Then they trade, both of them going to end up more of those products that they trade with. All right, let's go back to here. Let's say, okay, this is Frank, okay? At this row here, Frank, the farmer take him 60 minutes to make 1 ounce of meat and 15 minutes to make 1 ounce of potato. Or we can multiply it to make it 8 hours. 1 day work, he can do either 8 ounces of meat or 32 ounces of potato. Okay? And Ruby the same way. 20 ounce, 20 minutes, 1 ounce of meat, 10 minutes, 1 ounce of potato. Or if she does it in whole day, she can come up with either 24 ounces of meat or 48 ounces of potato. As you notice here again, Ruby's is better than Frank. This is faster. The same amount of time, she almost does 3 times better than, faster than Frank on meat. Also on potato, she's better, 1.5 times better than Frank. But why she doesn't need to trade? Okay, then we're going to see here. All right, we're going to see, let's go to, okay, we already did this part here. Okay, and that's graphically showing that table that we just saw. That's the graph. Okay, now how are we going to figure out? Okay, the wise man tell him, let's say economists knew how to figure it out. He come tell Frank, hey, you specialize growing potato, okay, no meat, do all the time, whole day do potato, okay, and Ruby, you just do less potato and do more meat, and you're going to trade 5 ounces of meat against 15 ounces of potato, or 1 against 3. Okay, how did it come up with this? Okay, well, let's just figure it out. Okay, let's go see here. Here, he tells Frank, you just do the potato, 32 ounces of potato, no meat. Now, Frank, he works 1 day and he ends up with 32 ounces of potato. He tells Ruby, instead of being on point B, move up to the point where you can make 18 ounces of meat and 12 ounces of potato. Okay, remember all the stuff you learn about, those principles is applying here, which means she devoted more time to make meat than she has to give up potato, Then she ended up with that combination, 18 and 12. Okay. Now here he comes, tell Ruby, out of that 18 ounce of meat that you make, give Frank 5 of them. 18 minus 5, she's going to end up in 13. Remember before she was doing halfway, she was on 12. Now she has 1 ounce extra. And he tell Frank, when you get this 5 ounce of meat, okay, on panel here, A, Frank end up having 5 ounce of meat, give Ruby 16 of your potato. Okay. What is Ruby's going to do? Okay. Ruby's has 13 ounce of meat herself. She make 12 herself. She make, 15. He tell Frank to give Ruby 15 ounce of potato. He's making 32. Minus 15, you end up 17. Then Frank works whole day like before, 8 hours. Then with the trade, she end up on A prime, outside of the production possibility curve. Okay, because she gave 15 ounce of potato to Ruby. And let's see where Ruby is going to end up. Ruby did 12 by herself. She got 15 from Frank. She ended up on 27 ounce of potato on point B prime. Okay, the combination is higher than before. Then as we see, they both use the same amount of time a day, same land, same tools they had. They somehow end up with more. That's why this principle focus on gaining from the trade. We're going to go deeper into this later when we talk about chapter in international trade, why the trades benefit both countries. Although one country might absolute advantage over the other country, but it does not have competitive advantage. All right. Now let's go one more here. Then this table here tell you how much each of these party gain. Okay. The Frank gain 1 extra ounce of meat, okay, and 1 extra ounce of potato, and Ruby gained 1 ounce of meat and 3 ounces of potato. That's gained from the trade. And check this table too. It's pretty straightforward. Now, let's look at here. One more thing. Absolute advantage is what? Okay. Ability to produce a good using fewer inputs than the other producers. Okay. Rosie was doing 20 minutes to make 1 ounce of meat, compared to Frank, took him 40 minutes to do it. Then she was better. She's fast. That's absolute advantage. Okay. All right. Let's go here. To figure out competitive advantage, you got to figure out the opportunity cost. Okay. Whatever must be give up to obtain something. Okay. Let's look at it here. What did Frank give up to make 1 ounce of potato or 1 ounce of meat? Okay. It took him 60 minutes to do 1 ounce of meat and 15 minutes to do 1 ounce of potato. Now, to produce 1 ounce of meat for Frank, he has to give up 4 ounces of potato. Okay, that's the opportunity cost. Or if you look at it at the chart here, let's go back in here. Actually, it does it better here. See, if she that's the slope of the line. Slope of the line is the opportunity cost of producing 1 ounce of potato. And the slope is what? You know that, rise over run, 8/32, which is 1/4. Okay. Frank, to make potato, he has to give up 1/4 ounce of meat. That's the opportunity cost. If you move down along the curve, having more potato, you got to give up more meat, right? Then, because this is a linear opportunity, I mean, production possibility curve, then the opportunity cost would be the same all over, okay? Which is the slope of the line, okay? That's easier to calculate here. Always, the product which is on your horizontal, the opportunity cost of producing one more unit of that product is the slope of the line to give up the other product that which is on vertical. Okay. Now let's look at Ruby here. The slope of the line again, rise over run. Okay, which is 24 divided by 48 is half. For Ruby, producing 1 ounce of potato, you have to give up. She has to give up 1/2 ounce of meat. That's her opportunity cost for potato. Then where is the potato cheaper? It costs Frank 1/4 ounce of meat to make potato. It costs Ruby 1/2 ounce of meat to make 1 ounce of potato. Then Frank can do it cheaper. That's why it says Frank should specialize in just making potato. Okay, and vice versa is true. Okay, vice, we can reverse this. Then we end up having Ruby have competitive advantage over Frank in making meat. Then she should do more meat than potato, then the tray. And they both going to be better off. Now, the last part is why the wise guy told him, you go 1, 2, 3, which means Frank should give Ruby 3 ounces of potato and receive 1 ounce of meat. Okay, why not 1/5? Why not 1/4? Okay, now remember, for Frank, 1 ounce of meat, okay, is worth like 4 ounces of potato. Okay, to do 1 ounce of meat, he has to give up 4 ounces of potato. For Ruby, 1 ounce of meat is 2 ounces of potato. Okay, or to make 1 ounce of meat, he has to give up 2. Okay, now that wise guy told them, you give up 1 ounce of meat, get 3 potato. Okay, that 3 landed between 2 and 4. Instead of the trade be beneficial on both sides, he has to be between those 2 opportunity costs. Okay, opportunity cost of 1 meat for Frank is 2 potato. Opportunity cost of 1 meat, 1 ounce of meat for Ruby is 4 potatoes. Now, if Ruby give up 1 ounce of meat to be beneficial for her, she has to receive the amount of potato that landed between 2 and 4. Okay, that's why the wise guy told him 5 and 15, or 1 and 3. Just keep that in mind also. All right, let's see here. We probably did cover everything here. And okay, well, then he goes to that principle. You know, trade can benefit everyone in society, allows people to specialize in activities which they have competitive advantage. Now, within the society, the same way. If I am specializing doing lecture and teaching, okay, that's what I'm good to with. And the other guy, you know, is good to doing, let's say, air conditioning or plumbing, and he's specialized in that. On everybody in the society, they have competitive advantage of something they're good at. They train, okay, now they be good at that things, right? And they start trading, then economy is going to benefit overall. The price of the trade must lie between 2 opportunity costs, and we already covered that. The principle of competitive advantage explains interdependence and gains from the trade. Okay, then Should US trade with the other countries? Sure, of course. Okay. What does import means? Goods produced abroad and sold here domestically. What is export? Goods that we make it or US make it and sell it to China or Mexico or whatever, right? And should, okay, should we do with Japan? Okay, this is another example. Just do it as a practice on yourself. Let's say these two countries just do food and cars. One American workers can make one car in 1 month on average, and he can do 2 tons of food in 1 month. Okay, Japanese worker on average, let's say it takes him 1 month to do one car and 1 month to do 1 ton of food. Okay, now figure out who's specialized in what, and when they trade, where the terms of the trade is going to land. Okay, just work it out here. All right. Well, I give you the answer here, kind of explain it. But try to do it before you get to the answer here. Okay. Yeah, when you get questions like that in your quizzes, it's pretty straightforward. This is kind of too deep for those quizzes. The quizzes are pretty straightforward, you get multiple choice, true, false. That's why I want you to just dig through your book or PowerPoints, find the answers. It's kind of like your homework. Okay. All right. This one give you the answer here. And at the end of the chapters, it kind of give you this one. It says some American who works in production of competing goods such as clothing and furniture are worse off if we trade with China. 96% of economists agree on that one. Okay. This one says if we trade with China, most Americans are better off. Okay. But among other advantage, well, they can buy goods that are made or assembled more cheaply in China. Okay, 100% of economists agree on that one. That most American, it doesn't say all American, most American are better off when we trade with China. The slide says some Americans going to get hurt. They're going to lose, like they're going to lose their job, like we did, tariff on steel from China because we want to revive the steel industry in Midwestern, states. The workers are happy. Those factories open up now. They can, have job and so on. But who's going to get hurt? The price is going to be higher. Okay, consumer now has to pay more because that is steel that we make is going to be more expensive that we get it from China. Steel is an input to making cars and a lot of other goods. The price of those goods going to go up and consumers going to lose. But the loss of the consumers exceed the benefit of the producers. That's why if we do tariff and tax on trade, we're going to lose. When we open it up, well, those factories got to shut down. They lose. But consumers going to gain. They're going to take advantage of lower prices. Okay? Their gain exceed the loss of those manufacturers of steels, and overall economy is going to gain. Okay, that's kind of this principle in a nutshell. Trade makes both parties better off. That's how we can argue. That's how we can prove it. All right, then let's go stop it here, and I'm going to put it up on your canvas.